Good morning, church. I'm so glad to see all of you. Grateful for the opportunity to come together. We are a congregation who seeks to be truly welcoming, so whoever you are, whether you're in this sanctuary or worshiping on the live stream, I'm so glad that you're here. And I hope that you feel the embrace of this community. Today we hold our annual congregational meeting. It's combined with worship. It's our attempt to place in context why we do what we do, to merge our ministry with our business. If you're visiting today, perhaps you're here for the first time, don't despair. Please don't get up and leave. Not yet. You will learn things today about this church that you might not otherwise know. It's actually a pretty good day to really see what a church is like. The service today is expected to conclude by 11:30. Everyone is invited to stay for lunch following worship. We even have, you probably saw them as you came in, the 150th anniversary commemoration mugs that are out there. So we hope everybody gets one of those. Through that door there, you will find nursery for children up to age 3 and activities for preschool age children up to 5th grade. This is our church staff. Yay! We've prepared a song to begin worship. It's our offering. It's a gratitude for all of us and for this place of healing and hope. So with joy, let us worship.
Take me to the breaking of a beautiful dawn. Take me to the place where we came from. Take me to the end so I can see the start. There's only one way to mend a broken heart. Take me to the place where I don't feel so small. Take me where I don't need to stand so tall. Take me to the edge so I can fall apart. There's only one way to mend a broken heart. Take me where our love is not for sale. Take me where our hearts are not so frail. Take me where the fire still owns its spark. There's only one way to mend a broken heart. Teach me how to see when I close my eyes. Teach me to forgive and to apologize. Show me how to love in the darkest dark. There's only one way to mend a broken heart.
Take me where the angels are close on hand. Take me where the ocean meets the sky and the land. Show me to the wisdom of the evening star. There's only one way to mend a broken heart.
Take me to the place where I feel no shame. Take me where our courage doesn't need a name. Show me how to love in the darkest dark. There's only one way to mend a broken heart.
Today we Today we gather.
We bring our sorrows, our disappointments, our failures.
For laughter and to rejoice.
We gather to reflect, to give thanks, and celebrate. We gather to find new ways of loving, new ways of thinking, new ways of being.
We gather. Yes, we gather. For it is in gathering that we find our hope.
O God, our help in ages past, our hope in years to come, you are our eternal home.
Friends, may the peace of Christ be with you. Let us greet one another with peace. take a moment to kind of transition from that extroverted feeling to center ourselves. Then I'll offer a prayer. Kind God, as we gather today for our annual meeting, our hearts are filled with gratitude for this beloved church and for another year to love and serve and grow together. Love has sustained us. Love has united us. For we are a diverse community, each of us with our unique perspectives and backgrounds. We seek to stand together as one body, bound by the common thread of love for you, O God, love for each other within this church, a love that is expressed again and again outside of these walls in just actions on behalf of all people, all creation. We thank you for the visionaries and pioneers who founded this church, and for the countless people who worshiped and dreamed and worked to make First Congregational Church what it is today. We stand on their shoulders. Their courage and wisdom have shaped the foundation that brings us here 150 years later. Grant us wisdom, O God, as we reflect on the past year's achievements and challenges. Guide us in discerning a future of hope, action, and faithfulness. On this day and every day, may all of our conversations be marked by grace, humility, and a genuine desire to love and serve. May we bring our very best to the tasks that lie before us, whatever they may be. To strengthen us on our journey, we join with our spiritual ancestors in praying the prayer that Jesus taught. Our Creator, who art in heaven,
Good morning. I'm Rich Law, and I am your moderator. And before I open our meeting, a couple directions. If you're online, would you please make sure that you're visible so that we can count your presence, the numbers. We'll have some helpers in a minute doing a count for a quorum. And then if you're online, we'll need your presence when we're getting ready to vote. So as moderator of the church, I'm going to call this annual meeting to order. It is 10:15, and Leanne has me on the clock, so I don't get to tell any random stories. As we have done at past annual meetings, our first order of business is to establish Robert's rules. John.
Hi, Sid. My name is John Stefanik, and the moderator has asked me to act as parliamentarian this morning. I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you to Jerry White. He backed me up. We have some personal challenges in our family right now, so he was here if there was any need. So really, the first thing to do is I would entertain a motion that we follow Robert's Rules of Order. And who would like to make that motion? The moderator, Demetrius. Now, do we have a second? A second by Dr. Ridings. Is there any discussion? I think we'll just do this by acclamation. So Robert's Rules it is. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. All right, second order of business is to establish a quorum. Our current membership is at 487, and so the quorum number required this morning is 49. Do we have a total count? We're good? Okay, so a quorum is established, and we can move on. Next order of business is that we need to have a motion to approve the minutes from our 2023 annual meeting. Jane, would you like to make the motion?
I'm Jane Ridings, and I move to accept the January 2023 annual congregational meeting minutes as distributed prior to this meeting.
Is there a second? Okay, Jane's got that. Are there any objections to approving last year's minutes from last year's annual meeting? All right, the motion is passed. Council reports on the past year. In a few minutes, I'll give you a chance to offer questions to council members on their specific reports that they offered in writing. I think you all have that today, and I think it was sent out via email. I'm going to offer a few comments of my own to start, and then I'll give you a chance to speak. So overall, our church is strong as we enter our 150th anniversary year. We've come a long way in the last 150 years. We are a resilient church family. I'm so grateful to be a part of this community right now, celebrating this milestone with you. It's an honor. Like all families, we've been through good times, hard times, and everything in between. To last this long, remain relevant and thrive, speaks to our faith, our vision, our commitment, our ability to adapt, and it speaks to each generation of members, volunteers, and staff. Here are some of the things I've observed in the past year. Right now, we are growing and thriving. Take a look around during most of our worship services. We're at capacity or near capacity during worship. Plus, we have so many children with us. Take a look at the back corner that I like to call Wiggle Corner. And it's usually filled with children of all ages. And for me, that's a very good and welcome sign of a healthy church. I believe that most of our renewed energy and growth is due to our lead pastor and our incredible staff. Leanne leads the way. She's creative, engaging, authentic, and always bringing us new and creative ways of embracing the mystery of God. She is also committed to helping us welcome all and serve. Leanne also leads an amazing staff. Our staff is strong, patient, creative, supportive, and cohesive. Without their patience and help, First Congregational would not run and our volunteers could not lead. Our staff and volunteers are collaborating more than ever. Take a look at the back of our church at the tech team. Many hands running our sound system, supporting Leanne, the choir, members attending the services online, and everyone else in worship. This doesn't just happen. Every work week, our faithful staff, alongside intrepid volunteers, put in long hours of collaboration, hard work, and elbow grease to make church happen for the rest of us. The special partnership of staff and volunteers make it possible for all members to stay connected from a distance. Obviously, church is no longer contained within these stone walls. And church is now being broadcast out in a way that our ancestors and our church predecessors would have never imagined. We're lucky to have so many committed volunteers during church and helping us all to connect. But we have more we hope to do, especially this year. Each of you has something to offer this church. We need you. We need your ideas. We need your presence. So if you haven't yet, or if you haven't for a while, talk to some of us and help us out if you can. In terms of council's work this past year, here are some things I've noticed. Much of our council work seemed to be focused on providing care to our church in many different ways. Some of this looked like ordinary building repairs. Our treasured building is 150 years old and requires constant care and attention. This past year, we've had to repair leaking pipes. We've serviced our furnace a few times. We added workspace at the back of the sanctuary. We upgraded our tech and AV, and we made many other repairs as they popped up. Being good stewards and taking care of this building honors those who came before us, and it ensures a safe and comfortable worship space for us now and in the years to come. Care for our church has also come in the form of providing updated and appropriate safety boundaries and practices. We have a strong safety team led by Tom Healy. Thank you, Tom. Their work is part of Sid Shelton's work, as if Sid doesn't already have enough to do. Today, however, the issue of safety is much more than just alarms and locks. It's also about our procedures. The issue of safety touches on every single aspect of our church. So when the safety team meets, there are many, many factors to consider. So sometimes the work is very slow. As the safety team and council consider other plans and procedures, we'll be reporting back to you. You may have your own safety concerns or a question about something inside or outside the church. So I am always open and available if you want to talk to me, or talk to Tom Healy or Sid Shelton. Talk to one of us if you ever have a concern. The last important area of church care for our council has been the 2024 budget. In the past few years, our council's had to approve deficit budgets. As you know, we've been through some difficult times. This past year, our council stated an intention to do its best not to pass another deficit budget and not to dip into our reserves, unless it was an emergency. We are striving not to spend money we do not have. Leaving our reserves alone can protect our church long term. This year, as you will hear in a few minutes from Charles, we have achieved our budget goals for 2024. In our budget work this year, I am so grateful for our multifaceted approach to budget building. I'm specifically grateful for the advancement team and their hard work. Thank you. I'm grateful for the 7 Pillars Fund that we have in place, the generous contributions and extra revenue at the end of last year, many generous pledges coming for this year, investments from bequests that pay us some dividends. I'm also grateful for our ability to continue supporting and funding our church's robust mission and outreach program. I have now had the privilege of seeing firsthand our hard work and generosity in 1 year. This 1 year can build momentum and can continue to build the following year. So now we need to keep our momentum going as best we can. Finally, in this 150th anniversary year, we will continue to publicly proclaim who we have been, who we are right now, and who we aspire to be. In our nation's history, churches and pastors have always led the way for social justice. In the years before the Civil War, some of our pastors and churches from this denomination, from congregational churches, helped lead the way against the abolition of slavery. I'm proud of that. In our community today, as best we're able, First Congregational can continue to be courageous and stand up publicly and proclaim who we are as a church. Others in the Pikes Peak region are looking for a church just like ours. Some are looking for a church not afraid to take a stand on issues and help change social justice problems. Some are simply looking for a church family that will accept them just as they are and welcome them home. This 150th celebration will be filled with a lot of looking back, but it will also be filled with opportunities to look forward as we continue our growth, our willingness to learn, and our heart to serve. This has been a wonderful year, and I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the obvious. Those of us on council this past year owe a debt of gratitude to all those who have served on previous councils and dealt with some very difficult issues in incredibly difficult times. This church was handed to us in wonderful condition, and we will continue to do our best to keep the positive momentum going. Thank you, and God bless you all. So now, do any of you have a question that you would like to ask a council member on something they have reported in the annual reports that you have? If there is a question, we can pass the microphone before we move on. Any questions online? Okay, let's move on. Now is the opportunity for you to comment on the past year. Every year we give you a chance to comment on what you've seen, what you've observed, what you're grateful for. If you have something you'd like to offer our community, now is the time. If you raise your hand, we'll pass the microphone.
Thank you. I want to thank all of you for your heart for MG&O. You know, I stood here last year and talked about the fish and the multiplication, and we sure saw it last year. We were able to give along with the other grants, a one-time grant of $10,000 matching challenge to Project Angel Heart. Unexpected. It was something that we sort of thought about, and because of council and their generosity, we're able to allow us to dip into our reserve. But I want to really thank you, because we are a church, but the real church is outside these walls, and I'm so grateful you're a part of it. Thank you.
Other questions or comments on the past year? Anything online? Okay, if there are no other comments, we will keep moving. Kathy White, come on up.
Good morning. I'm Kathy White, councilperson for Care and Fellowship. It's my great pleasure to facilitate this part of the annual meeting, the honoring of our volunteers. In a few moments, I'm going to call up 3 council members who have completed their 3-year terms as volunteers on church council. But first, we are going to participate in what I am calling the Big Thank You. This will be a quick and fun way to see the great number of volunteers that contribute their services to this congregation and to offer our gratitude to one another. So, during this lightning round, I'm going to call out the various committees and teams that we have here in the church. And I want you to stand up if you're on one. Keep standing until I've called out every volunteer possibility. Okay, here we go. The advance team, please stand. The maintenance team. The AV team, Please stand if you can, and please include your youth technicians team, the grounds team, the emergency response team, the intercessory prayer team, the all-church campout team, the children's ministry team, the historic team, the safety team, MG&O, immigrant advocacy team. And before I forget, for those at home, if you're on these committees, stand up. The Just Peace Committee, the Financial Advisory Committee, the Leadership Cultivation Committee, Human Resources Committee, Risk Reduction Committee, Music and Arts Committee, Visual Arts Committee, Creation Justice Committee, 150th Anniversary Committee, the JWW Lectureship Committee, the Forum Committee, Prayer Shawl Church Knitters Committee, the Contemplative Worship Committee, the Clergy Congregation Relations Committee, the Virus Committee, the Transportation Committee. Stand up if you are in the choir. Oh, yeah. Stand up if you were in the bell choir, the flute choir, the recorders, the madrigal. Stand up if you were in the madrigal, if you helped with Folk Sunday. Stand up if you helped with Jazz Sunday. Stand up if you were in the mystery. Stand up if you cooked when we hosted the homeless. Stand up if you participated in setup or tear down, or you slept over in the library when we hosted the homeless. Stand up if you organized and hosted the Trekkers hiking group. If you were the dean of or were on the faculty of cooking school. If you assisted with any of the children's programs, the youth ministry, or adult education. Stand up if you facilitated the Earth Holders meditation group. Stand up if you facilitate Soul Feast, Pops, 9 to Dine, the Lenten Film Series, Fifth Sunday Fellowship, a support group, a Bible study group, a discussion group. Stand up if you are the church librarian, an usher, a Stephen minister. Stand up if you are the congregational nurse. Stand up if you are on council. Stand up if you helped with Fat Tuesday. How about the Silver Threads Luncheon? Dinner on the grounds, the Thanksgiving dinner, the Just Peace group, and brunch today. And stand up if you've ever been to an annual meeting. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Turn to your neighbor and say thank you. Now, with the three council members who are completing their third-year terms, please come forward. That would be John Phelps, Jane Ridings, put down your computer, Jane, and Cynthia Riley. I'll start with John Phelps. John is the outgoing Mission Giving and Outreach representative for council. John, thank you so much for being such an abiding advocate for MG&O and their enthusiastic supporter. We will miss your quiet and insightful contributions to the facets of council work. I once mentioned to another council person that John was a man of few words, To which they replied, "Yes, but when he speaks, he's usually right on." We'll miss that, but look forward to seeing what you have to hearing what you have to say about becoming an adult education series. We will also miss your dry wit, your technical expertise, and your ability to see the big picture, your abiding faith, and your delicious chili. Thank you, John. Cynthia Riley. She is the outgoing person for music and sanctuary arts. Thank you so much, Cynthia, for offering your time, your talent, your great expertise these 3 years on council. Thank you, too, for your generous manner, your empathic listening, and your hands-on participation to so many facets of music and arts. We loved seeing you in the choir. We loved you in the madrigal. My husband will never forget it. And we know you are deeply involved with numerous contributions to the 150th Anniversary Committee. These efforts all reflect your deep and faithful commitment to this church. We'll really miss you on council, but we know we'll see you working in numerous other places. Thank you. And Jane Ridings. She's outgoing council secretary. Jane, thank you so much for 3 years of service as secretary extraordinaire. We will really miss your wit, your wisdom, your institutional memory, and your amazing ability to record and synthesize information. Your organizational talent is incredible. You also did a remarkable job serving as liaison to the Leadership Cultivation Committee, Human Resources, Risk Reduction, and Clergy Community Relations. Your love for First Congregational Church is reflected in all you do, and it was to the church's great benefit that you chose to generously offer your time and talent to council. Again, we will really miss you. Just a couple of other thank yous. Polly Hubbard, please stand. A heartfelt thanks to Polly Hubbard, who is stepping down from her leadership role in MG&O. Polly joined the committee in 2017 and took leadership the following year in 2018. She was creative, knowledgeable, efficient, empathic, and faithful. Polly is a servant leader. Thank you, Polly. Deb Bunting, would you stand up? A heartfelt thanks to Deb, who is completing 6 years on the Leadership Cultivation Committee. Her bright spirit, her wit, and her compassionate manner are visible to anyone who interacts with her. Thank you, Deb. And finally, ask anyone around First Congregational Church what their favorite church tradition is, and a large majority of people will tell you it's the mystery. For over 30 years, Nancy Forgy, Nancy, can you stand? Are you with us? For 30 years, Nancy Forgy has lifted the lamp, or in this case, the candle, and led the way. She managed the angels, the shepherds, the kings, the children, Joseph, Mary, and the Bambino. She chaired the committee, she saw to every detail, she supervised the rehearsals, and she made certain that each year, tradition, solemnity, order, and beauty took up residence on the chancel on that special Sunday in Advent, just as night was falling. It is with admiration and gratitude that we join together today and say, thank you, Nancy. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
It is in this moment, as you've just seen, it takes many hands to do the work of the church, to do the work of societal change. And so this moment, we're going to be honoring those who have done the work before and who have since passed from our presence. We will be honoring the saints who have died in 2023. Lisa is here to invite the bell, and she'll open us up, and she will close this time by inviting the bell again. We'll take the moment to read the names who have passed, to reflect upon their pictures for just a brief moment so we can honor those who have come before us. Lisa. Nancy Ekberg-Tynan. Will Green. Sam Wood. Reba Holmes. Greg Sandstrom. Bob Frick. Anne Frank. Gordon McKay. Richard Reinhardt. Karen Peace. Gail Finley. Jean Tidball. And Judy Pickle.
this heart of mine embraces all day through. In that small cafe, the park, across the way, the children's carousel, the chestnut tree, the wishing well. I'll be seeing you in every lovely summer's day, in everything that's light and gay. I'll always think of you that way. I'll find you in the morning sun, and when the night is new, I'll be looking at the moon, but I'll be seeing you. I'll be seeing you in every lovely summer's day, in everything that's light and gay. I'll always think of you that way. I'll find you in the morning sun, and when the night is new, I'll be looking at the moon, but I'll be seeing you.
Thank you. That was powerful. Hard saying goodbye. Now is the time we're going to nominate and select our next council members and members of the LCC, Leadership Cultivation Committee. Before I do that, and before I turn it over to Bill, I have a statement that I need to read to you. Last Tuesday morning, our friend Sky Forrester suffered a stroke at home. He was taken to the hospital where he successfully received treatment. I spent most of that day with Sky and Janet, and since Tuesday, Sky has been receiving treatment. Because Sky was busy at the time with his recovery and resting, Janet and I briefly discussed Sky's nomination and involvement with council. Today, we're going to move forward with Sky's nomination and vote, business as usual. Janet agrees with this. When Sky is ready, he will decide what activities he will stay with and which ones he will set aside. It's up to him. If Sky decides to not serve on council, he has our full support. If he steps down from council, we will handle that opening as we would with any other opening. We have a process for openings on council. There is no rush in this decision. I've discussed all this with Janet, and she supports this approach. I've also discussed it with Leanne, council, and some on the LCC. Our primary concern right now is Sky and Janet. They have many friends and family around them right now supporting them. If you have questions for me about Sky or what supports they might need, we can talk later after church. Right now, they're in good hands. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm Bill Kemp. I'm representing the Leadership Cultivation Committee. and I'm here to present a slate of folks to join on the council and the LCC. And so I'm going to be presenting each of them to you, along with a motion to approve these nominees here. So as I call your name, could you come on up so folks can see you? We're going to begin with council. The first being the Minette Church, who's nominated for the position of Music and Sanctuary Arts. Oh, worship and spiritual life, sorry. We just heard about Sky Forrester, so Sky is for outreach, and that's his position. And then Gene Hagerman for secretary. So those are our the nominees for council. And for the Leadership Cultivation Committee, we have two folks, Polly Hubbard. And Jill Robinson. So I propose a motion to elect the following slate of candidates for Church Council and the Leadership Cultivation Committee. Do we have a second? Okay, we have a second. Any objections to these nominations? Okay, any online? No? Okay, having no objections, the motion passes. And we have our new leaders.
And I also invite forward to stand with them any continuing council members as well as continuing LCC members to just join them here in the front. These are the people that we have called to lead this congregation. I invite the whole congregation to stand. Do you, members and friends of this congregation, affirm these leaders as volunteers who need your support, who need your participation and your appreciation, caring, and concern? If so, please respond enthusiastically, "We do." We do. Leaders, we are so grateful for your willingness to take on these responsibilities of leadership. We, as a congregation, affirm your calling, and we encourage you to take care of yourselves in your roles. The ultimate responsibility for our church lies within all of us, for this is our home and our community, and we vow to support your ministries in every way that we can. Thanks be to God. Amen. The hymn number is 181. Please stand as we sing.
now is the time we move to the Treasury Report and our 2024 budget. After Charles presents his information, we'll take a motion to approve that budget, and then we'll open it up to questions and comments if you have any. Charles.
Good morning. Thanks, Leanne, for this unique virtual work meeting format. Again? How's that? How's that? Am I good? Come on, AV team, help me out. You good? All right. Welcome all, and those joining us online. Everyone joining online, welcome. I'm Charles Cascaras, Council Treasurer, and I will first present the 2023 financial charts. The proposed 2024 budget charts will follow, with the recommended unified budget we should vote on afterwards. Hopefully you've had a chance to read the Treasurer's section in the annual report that summarizes financial details for last year in 2024, and I will be referencing some information therein. The first chart shows the church's mission giving and outreach budget and actual expenditures. We gave just over $104,000 to the agencies listed, and the basic support number is our gift to our church's wider mission within the Rocky Mountain Conference and includes the conference dues. Says it's on. Is it on? Should I park this over here? I'm getting feedback. It's not from my hearing aids, is it? Okay. This is going to be loud now. As we heard from Paulie, Council also granted the MGO Committee's request in March for an additional $10,000 from MGO reserves to offer a matching grant to charitable applicants, and Project Angel Heart was chosen for this new grant. This is part of the $51,000 in the local community support expenditures shown. The budget was underspent by about $2,900, and approximately $1,800 of that was in Just Peace, ministry, discernment, and advocacy. In the next chart, the 2023 financials for the unified operating budget show the planned deficit of $59.5 thousand that was to be funded by general fund reserves and MGO reserves. However, we did not have to use these reserves because we ended 2023 not with a deficit, but with a surplus of $47.5 thousand, an improvement of some $107,000 through a combination of increased contributions and cost savings. Very good news indeed. In the next chart, we see the capital fund started 2023 with reserves of $93.5 thousand and had income of $20.8 thousand from endowment funds distributions and from donations, thanks to Carolyn Dickerson and Kent Nelson for the LED lights change-out in the facility. Council also approved the plumbing upgrade for end-of-life special pipe elbow gaskets throughout the building, and a security upgrade for the atrium doors that will add cameras and magnetic locks controlled by staff. The largest capital expense approved was for the state-of-the-art upgrade to our audiovisual system, which was prompted by our failing big screen projector. For those viewing by live stream today, you may remember the projection last year that was faded by the sunlight coming through the rose window, and you are now having a significantly improved overall experience. Hope you're watching, Sky and Janet. All of these improvements exhausted the capital reserves by $5,244, and it was brought back to zero with general fund reserves at the end of 2023. Are there any questions on the 2023 financials? Moving on to this year's proposed budget. The advancement team and council and our staff and the Human Resources Committee began working on the budget and the annual appeal some 5 months ago. And I am so grateful again that together we have arrived at this point. Rich and I presented 3 congregational Zoom budget meetings in November, December, and January, explaining the requested budget items in detail. This budget detail is available to view on the members-only church website, along with these charts. Early in December, the anticipated income was about 10% under what we needed to fund the 2024 budget. And council asked you to consider increasing your pledges by that amount. Half of the households contributing responded with increased pledges, and the annual appeal raised $843,477. Thank you for your generosity and support of our church. However, in January, the revenue gap was about $68,000, and council met to scrub the budget and chose to carry over the 2023 budget surplus to the 2024 budget. This left a budget shortfall of $18,343, and a unified balanced budget was proposed to the congregation at the January 17th Zoom meeting using that amount of MGNO reserves to support MGNO budget requests. The next chart shows this year's operating budget. The personal expenses that include salaries, health insurance, taxes, health savings accounts, and other benefits are 61.3% of the total and include a 3.5% cost of living increase for staff. Ministry areas are 4.5% of the budget. Core resources, including facility operations and church and property liability insurance, along with the accounting service fees, are the major expenses here and are 24.2% of the budget. And MGNO includes a $6,600 increase in local mission giving and is 10.1% of the $972,964 budget. These percentages are all similar to last year's. The next chart shows the income we are counting on, and the total is $954,621. That includes the 2023 $47,494 surplus carryover. Subtracting the expenses leaves a revenue gap of $18,343. The next chart shows the back up a little bit. The next chart shows the proposed $18,343 of MGNO reserves added to the budget and funding MGNO requests, leaving $24,117 in those reserves to start 2024. The last chart shows the remaining reserves if the proposed budget is approved. The $618.5 thousand in the general fund reserves include the 2023 net revenue and is comprised of $143,000 in cash and $475,000 in general reserves investments. Exceptionally good news indeed. We expect the capital reserves to grow 15 to 20,000 in 2024 from endowments, interests, and dividends. And now, on behalf of Council, I move to approve the proposed 2024 budget. Thank you. And Rich will conduct the motion with time for comments and questions.
Okay, there I am. So Charles has made the motion to approve the 2024 budget. Do we need a second on that? No, we do not. I'm getting head shaken no. My Robert's Rules experts. Now is the time we get to open this up for your comments or questions that Charles will answer. What questions? I can answer. You might not like my answer, though. I might just say, I don't know. What questions do you have of Charles? Or comments about the budget in general? Any questions or comments online? Head shaking no. Hearing no questions, no comments, does anyone disagree with me closing off comments and questions? Seeing no objection, we'll move on to a vote. Is anyone opposed to passing this budget? Is anyone opposed online? Hearing no objections, the motion passes and our budget is approved. So, hold on, Leanne, hold on. Yeah, I got the gavel. And I know how to use it. Having no other business on our agenda, I am adjourning this meeting.
Number 386, our almost closing hymn. We'll sing verses 1 and 4.
Nancy, come on up.
Hello? You know, if you ever sit in the middle during church, sometimes you will notice me not singing the hymn, but I turn around to stare at that rose window and to look at the faces of the people I'm worshiping with. 32 years ago, my husband and I started attending this church, and 30 years ago, we became members. So for half of my life, this church has been deeply meaningful community to me. So much of my learning and growing and challenge and support and experience of community and love has been with all of you and in this incredible space, and I'm so deeply grateful. And now, as City Councilor for the City of Colorado Springs, I will be reading a proclamation for the 150th anniversary of First Congregational Church that will be celebrated on October 25th, 2024. Whereas First Congregational Church in Colorado Springs was formally established on October 25th, 1874, in conjunction with the founding of Colorado College in the same year. And whereas First Congregational Church holds a special place in the history of Colorado Springs, occupying the original building whose cornerstone was laid in September 1888 and placed on the National Historic Register of Historic Places in 2002. And whereas First Congregational Church has a long tradition of musical ministry in the community, whose Hook and Hastings organ, installed in 1889, is the oldest working pipe organ in Colorado Springs and the largest original Hook and Hastings organ facade west of the Mississippi River. And whereas First Congregational Church has long been committed to social justice and being inclusive of all persons, in the words of an early pastor, the Reverend James Gregg, serving the city as a whole, including all classes and conditions of people, rich and poor, high and low, the learned and the unlearned. And in that same tradition, the members of First Congregational Church, and I need to stop here and say I thank you to Sky Forster for helping put together this proclamation. Sky, I hope you're watching. Were outspoken in the years following World War I, joining other religious leaders and the city's leadership in denouncing the Ku Klux Klan and denying the Klan access to significant resources or political position. Have throughout the 20th and into the 21st century welcomed the foreign-born into this community, most recently including many of the over 250 Afghans who fled in August 2021 and have been resettled in Colorado Springs. Have consistently worked as active partners with numerous civic organizations and religious bodies of different faiths in providing human and financial support for those experiencing homelessness and assistance to those suffering from abuse, neglect, or mental illness. Declared themselves in 1999 an open and affirming congregation, dedicating themselves to welcoming all persons, regardless of race, gender, ability, or sexual orientation, providing a supportive spiritual home for the LGBTQ+ persons and signaling its affirmation of the broader LGBTQ+ community by providing a home for the Out Loud Colorado Springs Men Chorus. Declared themselves in 2017 a Just Peace Church, a community where respect and justice are foundational, and taken public stands on issues such as LGBTQ rights and marriage equality, racial justice, immigration, gun violence, common ground against extremist violence, and exploring ways in which we can fight the causes and effects of environmental degradation. Now, therefore, I, Randy Helms, President of the Colorado Springs City Council, and I, Yemi Mobolade, Mayor of Colorado Springs, do hereby proclaim the 25th day of October as the 150th anniversary of the First Congregational Church in Colorado Springs.
And now, I jumped the gun a minute ago, but Jim and Jerry, I just couldn't wait to stand here with you fellas. Would you send us off with a blessing, please?
Hear the benediction. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me, bless God's holy name. Bless the Lord, and forget not all God's benefits. Especially we thank you for the benefit these 150 years of presence, witness, and activity which we have received. Help us then to pay it forward another year, maybe more.
Thank you, Jim.
My benediction is twofold. The first, a preface, is to why we come to worship. It's to do what William Temple said, who was the Archbishop of Canterbury. To worship is to quicken the conscience of the holiness of God, to feed the mind with the truth of God, to purge the imagination with the beauty of God, to open the heart to the love of God, to devote the will to the purpose of God. The second is for us to do what Paul said to the church in Ephesus. I pray that you may have the power to comprehend with all the saints what is the breadth, the height, the length, and the depth, and to know the love of Christ that surpasses knowledge, so that you may be filled with the fullness of God.
Amen. Amen. Thanks be to God.